What's up YouTube, Justin Fuller here, and today I am hopping outside of a 2022 Honda Civic Sport Touring Hatchback. So if you wanted to see all the bells, all the whistles in the brand new Civic Hatchback, this is the car for you. So let's take a look at the car and see how it stacks up against the competition. We should probably talk about what's underneath of this Honda Civic Hatchback, right? So let me pull you on in here and we'll talk about it. You're looking at a 1.5 liter turboed engine. This is putting out 180 horsepower. Now that's running to a CVT transmission. In this particular model, they do offer a manual transmission. So you ask, they listen, you can now get it in a manual or an automatic. If you're in the automatic, it's a CVT running out to these 18-inch wheels that you see right over here. So you are getting 30 in the city and 37 on the highway. Now back in here, if you want to run additional lights or anything specific, amp subs where you need to get behind and over to the firewall, you do have some room. As you wrap around, you can see all my fluids as far as where I can get to oil and different things. Dipsticks and different things are easily accessible. My air box, fuse box, and battery terminals. I love that the battery terminals are nice and easy to get to in case you need to jump your car, or in case you need to have someone else jump their car, right? So very easy to access everything under the car. All right, guys, so before we leave the front end, we should probably talk about not only the horsepower, of course, 180 underneath the hood of this car, but how it stacks up to the competition out there in the market. So I want to throw that up on the screen so that you can understand how this car stacks up. Now, after you've looked at that, we're going to talk about miles per gallon. All right, guys, so we are still at the front of this car, and I want to talk about miles per gallon. This car gets 30 in the city and 37 on a highway. So that's coming out of that 180 horsepower in that CVT transmission. Now, I want you to understand how this stacks up to some other cars out there in the market. So I'm going to throw a miles per gallon comparison up on the screen so that you can see that. Now, once you've taken a look at that, we're gonna start making our way around the car so we can look at exterior features on a walk around. All right, guys, so before we make our way all the way around the car so we can check out things like these 18-inch wheels, I wanna talk about the trim levels real quick. So this is, of course, a Sport Touring. This is the very top-end model. So it's gonna get you things like these 18-inch wheels. It's gonna get you built-in navigation, powered seats on both sides, a wireless phone charger, and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But I want you to understand, hey, if I drop down from this down to that EXL Model 1, how much money am I gonna save? And then 2, what are the list of items that I'm giving up to get there? So I'm gonna throw that up on the screen so you can see, of course, how much money am I saving and what items am I losing if I do that. Now, after you've taken a look at that, let's walk around this car and check out all the awesome features. All right, guys, so when it comes to a walk around, we should probably talk about some of these features. So we were just here, so I'm gonna talk about these 18-inch black alloy wheels. They are a sweet looking piece for this car. Now, as you wrap around the car, of course, you have a full LED setup here. So I've got LED headlights, daytime running lights, and then my fog lights down low. Now, as we come to the front grille area, you're gonna notice this is different from previous years, and it's different from the regular Civic. So if you're kind of wondering about that, let me pull you on over here and show you a regular Civic. So if you're looking at the classic Civic, this is a Civic Sport that's the sedan. You can see how this front end is a little bit different in the exact same color. So I just want you to understand that as we're looking at these cars. So you've got that nice honeycomb look to it. You've definitely got the emblem, and then of course behind there you've got the radar for Honda sensing. And then as we come up, they've done something a little bit different now. So that's gonna be for your lane keep assist up there. So you can see how it's a little bit different from previous generations. If you haven't, you can always hop on one of my videos and check it out. Now, Honda sensing is gonna do a few different features for you. One, there's a collision mitigation braking system. So if it's looking like I'm gonna rear in another car, it'll give me an audible alert and then actually apply the brakes to help prevent the accident. Now, secondarily, I have road departure mitigation. So if I'm starting to drive off the shoulder of the road, give me an audible alert in the car and actually shake the wheel and say, hey, wake up, pay attention. Now, lane keep assist is up top, right? So that's gonna use that camera up there. It's gonna detect these lines out on the road, so if I start to drift to the left or the right, it can keep me centered in my lane. So great, fantastic features that'll help you out. Now, additional safety features that you do have, turn indicators in the mirror so everybody will know that you're turning. You also have blind spot monitoring, so you're gonna see it right here. Sorry, I watched the car a little bit earlier, so those will light up. You get audible alerts if you start to get over and there's somebody there. Now, up top of the car, you of course have the moonroof that's been tinted here. And then on this car, you notice it is not tinted from the manufacturer. That would be something you would add at the dealership level. Now, as we wrap around here to the back, of course, it is a hatchback. So back here, full LED setup again. It is badged, of course, Sport and Touring. Then you've got your emblem and then Civic right over here. And then coming down, I've got that dual exhaust. All right, guys, so here we are at the back of the car. So let's talk about some cargo space and kind of how this interior works. So I'm gonna pull you on in here and show you a couple things. First, I've got carpeted floor mats. They come standard in the car, so just a heads up on that. Now, underneath here, this is where you're gonna find your spare, your jack, all your accessories, and one of my favorites, this, which we'll go over in just a minute. Now, as we move along here, I will point out that you have a privacy kind of a protector here in case you have nice items. And then this does come tinted, and then you additionally have this right here that's removable, right? Now, in the back, of course, I can tether an anchor, as you can see right there as far as car seats, and I do have some tie downs back here as well. Now, as far as throwing your seats down, pretty easy. I can do it from actually in the back and just push them down. So to give you an idea for space, I would tell you actually what this dimension is, but as of right now, the Honda website says to be determined, so it's a secret. Now, if you're looking with the seats up, it's gonna be 25.4 inches. So with the seats up, that's how much cargo space you have as far as cubic spacing, right? As a 6-footer, can I lay down in this car? Absolutely, I can. It'd be tight, but I could do it. So if camping got real weird, I could, of course, make some space for myself and be okay. So as far as giving you an idea for cargo space, you can understand that someone my size, 6 foot, 250, can fit in the back of this car diagonal. If there was 2 of us, we'd have to scrunch our legs and really love each other, right? Do you know what this is? Are you familiar with what a shiwi is? Well, if you're not, you should look it up. Google it. It's kind of hilarious, but this isn't that. Let me tell you about this. So if you come in here to the gas cap, one, I'll point out, this is connected to the door locks, which is kind of cool. That way you can lock and unlock it anytime you want, but this is capless, meaning there's a valve here. Well, if you ran out of gas and needed to fill it up, that's where this comes into play. I could put this in here to hold that valve open and then pour gas into it with my gas can, my water bottle, whatever I may be using to get gas if I had to go, wander off and find it. So, not a shiwi, but actually for gas, so just so you know what it is. What's up, guys? So here I am in the back seat of this Honda Civic Hatchback, right? So one, I'm a 6-footer, and I just want to point out that you can actually fit pretty reasonably, and this is with the seats pushed all the way back. So you're looking at 37.4 inches of legroom inside of the back of this car. Now, I want to stop for a second and just throw a comparison up to other vehicles out there in the market so you can understand, hey, how does this car really stack up in a comparison of space in the back in case you're gonna have passengers? Now, once you've taken a look at that, let's talk about some of the amenities you're seeing back there. One, I'm sitting on some nice comfy leather. That is gonna come standard in this car. You can even get it in the XL model below it. Now, one thing you will see here, though, as I pull across is you have kind of a patent plastic, right? So it's got a nice shine to it. A little bit different material right here that you're also going to see on the dash up there. And we'll go over that here in a second. Now, back here, you're going to see some additional speakers. This has a 12-speaker system in it with a sub in the back that is through Bose. So this is part of what you're getting if you're staying up in that sport touring model. Now, as we come across the center here, I will point out that you have 2 USB ports there for additional charging, right? Now, on the back, 1 pocket. Really? 1 pocket? Come on, man. For $30,000, what, $414, whatever this car costs, $30,810, I can't get 2 pockets? You're killing me, Honda. Now, on the back, you do have perforated leather back here, and on the front seats as well. So we'll go up that when we get out there. But I just wanted you to see what the back seat looks like and understand an idea for spacing. So let's hop up in the front seat and talk about that. All right, guys, so as we come into the front seat of this car, first, I want to point out a couple things. One, you have a powered seat on this side and a power seat on the other side. So good to know that you have it on both sides. You have that perforated leather right here, so you're going to have that heated seats up in the front of this car, but you can see it's offset with like a white stitching. So kind of a nice look, and it is definitely a plush interior. And then my center stack here is going to have that leather along with my steering wheel as well too. So let's hop on in and talk about leg space and then the dash layout. All right, guys, so as I'm sitting in the front seat of this car, I want to talk about leg space. You have 42.3 inches of leg space in the front of this car. So as a 6-footer, I got plenty of room here, and I don't have the seats all the way back, so not going to be an issue. And I'm a bigger dude too, so if you're worried about that leg space as far as letting your legs kind of hang out a little bit, you're good there too, in case you're one of those spreaders, those wide sitters, right, as if you will. So let's talk about materials and everything up here. So pull you across, right? They match in that back, and that they got that like shiny plastic, this different color, like kind of a plastic here as well, which you're also going to find on the dash, kind of a graphite finish to it. Now, as you come across, this is just what they've done in the Civic sedan too. A very sleek look as far as your AC. Keeps it kind of one long piece that runs all the way across, so a very nice, clean look. Now, this one has a 9-inch touchscreen in it. If you drop down to that EXL, you are going to be going down to that 7-inch touchscreen. So just something to be aware of. And then, of course, I have 2 more USB ports. Another power outlet is here. And then I have a a wireless power charger for my phone. And then, of course, my shifter, my drive modes, which we'll go over here in a second, my idle, stop, start, my emergency brake, so electronic to set it, push and release, and then brake hold, which we'll talk about additionally too. So let's talk about the full dash layout. All right, guys, so we're gonna start over here on the left side of the dash and talk about a couple different features, right? So the first thing I want to point out is that you do have parking sensors on the front and back of the car. If this LED is on, it's letting you know that they are active and running. Now, this second button right here is connected to Honda Sensing. So if I press this button, what it's going to do up here on the menu is pull it up and show it to me. So I'm going to go ahead and press that and then show you what it's up here. So I've got 2 different controls, so a little bit different from previous generation Civics as far as this car goes. On this left side, I can control through audio in those menus. On the right side, I can control through other screens, right? So really cool that they've done it. You have a full digital display. So you're only gonna find that in that touring model in the sedan, and then in the sport touring, I imagine, in this vehicle, right? So when I'm up here, right? So the features that it's showing me are what we talked about earlier, road departure mitigation. So if it's looking like I'm gonna leave the shoulder of the road, it'll give an audible alert and shake the wheel to say, hey, wake up, pay attention. And a reminder, you can turn all of these on and off. My blind spot monitoring system I pointed out is in the mirror, so it'll light up. And then if a car is there, if I start to get over, it'll give me an audible alert to say, hey, wake up, there is somebody over there. And then of course, I've got my low speed braking system, which is collision mitigation braking just on a low and fast speed, meaning if it's looking like I'm rear end another car, it'll give me an audible alert, flashing the dash, and then actually start to apply the brakes to help prevent the accident, right? So these two are gonna be connected just at low and high speeds. And then of course, if you're using your adaptive cruise control, this does work at a low speed follow, meaning that it will take me all the way down to a stop. And then when I get out from behind that car or go, it'll take me back up to my speed. So a really cool system. So let's talk about the steering wheel real quick, because we got quite a bit going on in this, right? So on the left side, I've got some options here that I can toggle through, and you can see FM, Bluetooth, whatever I may have accessed, USB, if I have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto running, it's gonna give me some additional options that I have here, right? So easy enough, and then I've got a volume control here, and then jumping between either favorite tracks, jumping to the next song, whatever it may be. So all audio on the left side. So I like that they've kind of differentiated the two on here to make it a little bit easier to understand versus like working through a lot of menus on one screen. Now on the other side is where you're gonna find some of those Honda sensing features and all these different menu systems, right? So a lot of stuff that you can work through here. So as we come through, I want to back out and kind of show you what this looks like. So let me cancel out of that here and kind of work through this screen here. So as we go up, I'm going to jump into that so we can get out. So first off, you have navigation, right? So this car has built-in navigation through Garmin. If you're not using it, you do have a compass as well. So just kind of nice to know that you have that, right? So as I keep coming through here, driver safety monitor. So this is attention level. If you're using all the different safety features at a point, it's going to start to alert you to, hey, wake up, pay attention, that sort of thing. Now in the back, it's monitoring who has a seatbelt on. So two of these seatbelts in the back, I have actually buckled right now. So it's kind of cool that you can see that, and that I don't have mine buckled, so you can see that right now. So very cool that you can always check everybody in the car. So if you got little ones back there, you can keep an eye on them. Now oil life, it'll show me when it gets down to 15%, it'll give you an audible alert and a code. The safety support system we just went over, so just another way to access those Honda sensing features. Customized display, so this just allows me to put some different things together, hide and show different apps and different things. So if I don't want everything in the menu screen showing, I can. And then switching over from miles per hour to kilometers per hour, right? So a lot of different things you have in here, and then your trip A, your trip B, how many miles on this tank of gas, that sort of thing. So all related to your driving habits, right? Now on here, you do have paddle shifters, so I have a positive and a negative. So if I'm using the automatic, it's the CVT transmission, I can upshift and downshift the car. So it gives me a little bit more control over that. So just know that you have that available to you. And then my lights here, I can set them to auto, and then I have my fog light controls as well up here that you can see are on or off, right? So easy enough to control. And then my windshield wipers pull down for the front, and then the back are controlled right off the tip of the stalk. So easy enough, that's the entire rundown of the steering wheel. So let's talk about that touchscreen. All right, guys, so here we are on the 9-inch touchscreen, and I want to go through some different features, what it looks like, how it works, my thoughts, because if you're dropping down, you're going to that 7-inch touchscreen, so just something to be aware of. So as you look across here, of course, you do have navigation, and I've got the button up top and down low. This is going to pull up that Garmin navigation that I mentioned. Now, if you don't want to use Garmin, you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you're going to have a wireless setup there, so you can access Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps, so a lot of different options. You can go through TomTom if you want, so several different things that you can do related to navigation, or you can use the Garmin setup, right? Now, as far as Bluetooth audio, pretty easy. All you got to do is connect up something to the car, whether it be your phone, whether it be a different device or whatever it may be. Smartphone connection. So this is going to be your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which we'll go over here in just a second because I'm going to have to connect up a phone. So we'll come back to that. Now, as far as trip computer, if you want to view current previous trips, how many miles you have on this tank of gas, that sort of thing, you can see it here. And of course, we saw it over in the dash as well, right? Sirius XM satellite radio you have for 90 days, and then afterwards it's up to you if you want to continue that subscription. So just be aware of that. FM, AM, the only thing I'm going to point out here is you do have HD stations, so if you want to take advantage of that, you absolutely can. Other than that, I think everybody understands how that works. I like that they've divided this up now to where you have some general settings and some vehicle settings. So it allows you to get into a couple of different menus and kind of keep those divided so that you're not looking through one big menu screen going, man, there's like 9,000 things in here that I'm going to look through. So just be aware that you have these, right? So I'm not going to deep dive too much into this, but this is going to be more related to basic stuff like connecting up a phone, changing the display, changing the clock, that sort of thing, right? Whereas your vehicle settings is going to be a little bit more in depth as far as like door locks, how long lights stay on, TPMS calibration, all of those different things that are, mechanical or electronic connected to the car itself. Now, as we keep coming back across here, USB, you got those USBs, you can plug in a USB like a drive, if you want to store a bunch of music to it and be able to listen to it. And from my understanding, it'll actually allow you to search through folders now, which is kind of a big change from previous years. So know that you have that availability, so you can keep it a little bit more organized in case you're that OCD person like myself who wants to be able to do that. AM, just like FM, we talked about a system. System updates, obviously connect up to Wi-Fi and then allow it to update the car. Your clock, if you just want a clock and wall screen, a clock and a wallpaper, you can pull it up right here and you can customize this and change it to all kinds of different things. So that's just kind of what was left on the screen there. Now, Honda Link, super cool, and when you get into these higher trims like a sport touring model, it's going to offer you a few different features. The first one is free, and it applies to all Hondas, and it's going to prompt you when you connect to the phone. In the event that you crash the car, the airbags deploy, Honda can call you. If you don't answer, they can give EMS your year, make, model, VIN, color, and last known location, so GPS-wise, to help protect you. So 100% free, life of the car, don't have to worry about anything. Now, additionally, you're going to have features in here that you can connect like subscription-based stuff, right? And they give you some trials, so if you want to be able to start the car from your phone, or if you want to be able to, control the door locks from the phone or different things, you're just going to need to download that Honda Link app. So be aware of that if it's something you want to take advantage of, but that's what it is, just so you have an understanding of it. Now, smart shortcuts, this is really cool. They just recently added this to the car, and you're going to find this in a lot of the Civics now. So what it is as this starts to follow your habits and realize what you click on the most, whether it's a particular XM station or whether it's you're always going to Apple CarPlay or Android, it's going to start adding in a shortcut that it sees you regularly hit to make life easier for you. And you'll see that shortcut here and down low, right? So it's just kind of cool that it monitors your habits and starts to recognize this to help you out as far as getting through screens a little bit easier. And then lastly, display mode, night and dark. So this is just, lightness and brightness and darkness. So you would press a button up here and then you could control how light or dark the screen is. So in case at night it's a little bit too dark for you, you can adjust that, right? So that's kind of running this. So let's talk about how to connect up a phone to Bluetooth, right? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take my phone right here and make sure that I turn on the Bluetooth, right? So I've got my Bluetooth turned on here, and let me go open this up so that when we start searching for it, I can find it. And then from here, smartphone connection, why not? Let's connect from there. So new car says exactly that. Let's turn it on. Let's start searching for it. So I'm going to hit pair new device on my phone and allow it to find this Honda. Now, once it's found the Honda, I can go from there. So on here, I believe it says Honda Civic. So we're going to go with that. Select that, and then we're going to let it pair up to the car, right? Once it's done that, now it's going to give me access to a couple things. So what I like about this is that when you connect up the first time, if you do it through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it's going to allow you to not only pair your phone to the car, but also connect up to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, right? So it's kind of a two-for deal when it comes to that. So it's going to make life a little bit easier for you. Now, it's giving you the directions on everything that you'll need to do, and then once you've done it, it'll search and find it. So with this device enabled, it's just kind of giving me some general, details and a Google privacy statement. So just something to be aware of. So once we've moved through that, we should be able to come back in here, jump into it, and let's see if we can't get this to open up here. Connect up to my Pixel, make sure we're connected, and we're good to go. So now we've got it lit up. Yes, Honda Link, so this is what I mentioned. It can call 911 services for you in the event that you get in an accident. So just be aware, I'm going to turn that on. And then now it's lit up Android Auto, right? So now when I jump into here, it's going to pull up, it'll probably pull up my Google Maps or, actually it's going to pull up a full setup here. So I'm not going to do the setup just because I already know how it works. But you absolutely could if you wanted to. So you can see that Spotify's pulling up here. My Google Maps is pulling up right here. My last known addresses. So my home and then my CrossFit gym that I work out at. So shout out to those guys. And then I have all these different apps in here, right? So plenty of apps you can look at. I would say Google it because every time I throw it up on the screen, I feel like in 6 months it's going to be outdated as to how many new apps they're offering. But YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, my calendar, there's all different things. My Messenger, my phone, my Messenger for Facebook and Instagram, right? Which, hey, if you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook page on there. So I'll throw that up on the screen so you can see what it is. I believe it's 100 reviews with Justin Fuller. So feel free to jump on that and say hi to me. Teams voice, there's all kinds of different things here. Ways, like I mentioned. So I love that this is, connecting up to your car and allowing you all these different options. And one, it's wireless, right? So I don't have to have my phone plugged into the USB. That's just kind of nice. I could, leave it down there in the cubby hole where the wireless charger is. So that's how the touchscreen works, and that's how Apple CarPlay and Android Auto works. And then, of course, how to pair up a phone. So one of the last things I want to show you is, of course, laid out right here. We briefly touched on it earlier. First, I want to throw it in reverse and show that you do have a backup camera, that 9-inch screen. I've got wide angle. I've got a classic view. I got one aimed straight down, so if I'm backing up to something. This is about 6 inches from my car, and then if I want to parallel park, I'm going to leave that much space. And I do have cross-traffic monitoring, meaning that if cars coming from the left or the right, it'll give me an audible alert and show me arrows on the screen to where they're coming from. So if I'm in between like 2 large SUVs or 2 big trucks, it'll still help me out because there are sensors off the back of the car. So that's regardless if you're using the parking sensors, which, reminder, this car has parking sensors. When you start start to get close to them, you'll get an audible alert and it'll show on the screen arrows and lines to where that is. So just so you understand that. Now, so shifting through, park, reverse, neutral, drive, pretty standard, easy to understand. I have some driving modes here that I can click through, and I'll show you how those look. So, I just clicked into normal, but as I click through, I can jump to sport, and it's kind of a nice display, right? So they got some cool graphics here. Sport mode is gonna rev at a higher RPM, giving me more get up and go, but I'm gonna give up some of that gas mileage, right? So that 30 in the city and 37 on the highway is gonna drop down if I'm using sport. Now we go to more normal. This is just classic driving, nothing to kind of think fancy right there. It's using all the normal shifting points and revving at a normal RPM. And then when I go down to econ, it's gonna improve that gas mileage. It's kind of the opposite of sport, right? Improve the gas mileage, but it's gonna affect things like the accelerator, not gonna take off and go quite as fast, which two things. One, you'll notice that I have some chrome tip pedals down there, and then I got my Jordans on here in the Christmas colors. Hey, we're coming to that time of year, guys. Just want to point it out. Hopefully you don't hate me, and if you do, leave a comment. What do you think? Down here, you've got the idle stop start. Every time you want to turn this off in the car, because what this is, when you come to a stoplight, it'll turn the car off to leave all the electronics and the AC on. However, if you want to turn this off, every time you get in the car and crank it up, you're gonna have to press this button. So there is not a way that I know of, unless they've changed something this year, to where you can turn it off permanently. So just be aware of that. Parking brake electronic, pull it, set it. Now, brake hold. If I want to use brake hold, I gotta have my seatbelt on. So let me put my seatbelt on so we can show you how this works. So the way brake hold works is I can put the car in drive, right? So car's in drive. If I press the brake hold button, I'm gonna see this light up here. Now what it's gonna do when you see it saying hold is now that the car's in drive, I can let my foot off the brake and the car is not moving. So when I'm gonna turn the wheel here so I don't hit this curb, I can start driving again, and you'll notice that when I do, it removes the brake hold button. Then when I come to a complete stop again, puts the hold on. Now I'm still in drive, I can release my foot again. So this is really a convenience feature. It's good for like stop and go traffic, or if you were like in a drive-through line, whether it be to get food or go to the bank or whatever it is, that's how this works. However, remember, if you take your seatbelt off, it disengages that feature. So if you have the car in drive, it'll automatically throw the emergency brake on. So it's not gonna let you roll into something, but be aware of that. So outside of that, normal new car stuff, all the stuff that you'd see any other car, right? I've got it's got a nice rubber finish down here in the bottom, which, see if I can pull out here. Every once in a while, Honda does this nice secret trick and puts something on the bottom of it, but I don't think they did this time. Nope, sorry guys, no Easter egg on this one. All you get is, whatever that means. So that's all you get down here in it. So let's talk about final thoughts on this car and go over a couple things. But before we do that, point up here, you do have your garage clicker, gate clicker, all those things set up. I do have my moonroof, so I can pop that open in case you're one of those people who loves to use it. I've got a sunglass holder here, and just my dome lights, right? So easy enough to set up. Just a little bit different display how they've set this up since previous years. So obviously, if you're a moonroof guy or a girl, there you go. All right, guys, we did it. We made it through the entire car, so I just want to revisit all the comparisons and then, of course, the difference between the trim levels, and then we'll send you down the road to hopefully find yourself a new Honda, right? So let's start at the front of the car. You have 180 horsepower underneath the hood of this 1.5-liter turboed engine. So I'm going to throw a comparison up on the screen so you can see how this car stacks up against other cars out there in the market. Now, after that, we should probably talk about miles per gallon, right? So you get 30 in the city and 37 on the highway, and that's using regular unleaded gas. So I want you to see a comparison of how this car stacks up to other cars out there in the market when it comes to things like miles per gallon, right? Because chances are you may be commuting around a lot in this car. Now, after you looked at that, we should probably talk about the front row where I'm sitting, right? So you have 42.3 inches of leg space up in the front of this car, so it's quite a bit of leg space. So even as a 6 foot, 250 pound guy, I am doing just fine up here. So if you're concerned about that, know that you're probably gonna have space. Now, as you move into the back, a little bit less space, 37.4 inches of leg space for your passengers. So if I have the seat pushed all the way back, is it super comfortable back there for somebody? Not necessarily, but I could kind of move people around and make sure the right people are behind the right people, if you know what I mean, right? Now, when you jump to the very back, with the seats folded up, your cargo space is 25.4 cubic feet of space. With them folded down right now, Honda doesn't say what it is, but I'll see if I can find on another site so we can get you a general idea, or I'll look at last year's, because chances are probably gonna be about the same, right? So you can understand, hey, if I fold the seats down, what does that look like? Now with cargo space going, I do want you to see a comparison up there. So I will show a comparison of how does this car stack up to other vehicles out there in the market. Now, after all of that, we should probably visit those trim levels and just understand, hey, this is the Sport Touring. This is the very top end model, right? So this is, hey, I want a wireless phone charger. I want leather. I want a 9-inch touchscreen instead of the 7. I want the 18-inch alloy wheels. I want that 12 speaker system Bose set up with the sub. If I drop down to that EXL, what am I giving up? Which I named off a lot of them, but I'm going to show you a list of those items and how much money am I saving. So at $30,810 on this car, if I'm dropping down, what extra money am I saving? And of course, what items am I giving up? So take a look at that on the screen so you can understand, hey, if I drop down a model, what am I really dealing with? Now, after all of that, hopefully this has helped you out as far as understanding this car, what it's about, and seeing all of the awesome features that it offers. I want to ask you for a couple favors. One, press the like like button. It helps me out, moves my videos, of course, higher up that search bar, and hopefully you like the way I present this, and you want others to see it as well. And then secondarily, leave a comment. If you don't like something, if you do like something, if you feel like I missed something, or go over some additional features, let me know. I'd be more than happy to touch on those for you. Things like warranty, 3-year 36,000 bumper to bumper warranty, and a 5-year 60,000 on your powertrain, right? So maybe I missed something that you care about. Leave a comment, let me know. Or maybe you like my Jordans, they're Christmas style. I don't know. After that, I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel so when I have other videos come out, you will get a notification on those videos. So hopefully if you like Hondas and you like what I'm doing, you'll subscribe to the channel. And then lastly, share the video. If you're in a forum, if you're, on Facebook in a group, maybe you want to share this with some others so they can see, hey, did you see the new Civic Hatchback? Did you see that Sonic Gray? This guy did a review and he goes over it and he shows how it competes against a lot of the other cars out there in the market that are hatchbacks. So hopefully you'll share my video because once again, it does help me build the channel and grow it. Lastly, I do have a Facebook page. I'll throw something on the screen so you can see what it is. Feel free to visit it. I'd love it if you joined and checked in and chatted with me, right? Other than that, if you have questions, comments, concerns, I do leave all my info out there, so you can always call, text, email me, or shoot me a Facebook message. I'd be more than happy to help you out with any questions that you may be having, or leave a comment on the video and I'll see if I can get to it, right? Other than that, like it, subscribe, share, and all of the things. Other than that, later, guys!